you that my dear new friend Thomas has selected these parts because I was, you know, a little lazy, but now I'm doing this all right. Okay, this refers to this passage refers to when we were recording in Albert's studio with Vander and Young. I believe my recall is correct. We were recording the TNT album. In Australia, there was a high voltage and a TNT album, as probably most of you know. The international version was two of them. Left some of the other songs that we feel didn't work for us at the time. Another story. This is while we were recording. The mood in the studio while making TNT was relaxed. I can only recall one punch-up, and even then it was on the way out of the studio in the hallway. It had been a long day and things hadn't gone as well as they could have. We were all feeling very frustrated, and as we were leaving, it got a bit heated between George and Angus. George told Angus that he should stop being such a fucking prima donna. A pretty funny line when it's delivered in a broad Scottish accent. It got a few sniggers from us all, but that was it. Angus blew up. He went crazy. He was like that cartoon character, Yosemite Sam, bouncing up and down and firing guns. I was half expecting to see steam coming out of his ears. He had a real foot-stomping tantrum. I bet he was a bugger of a kid when he was young, but he didn't always get his way. I know always. Angus set upon George. There was a bit of wrestling and hair pulling, but no real damage. I couldn't resist having a laugh. I just couldn't figure out how Angus was going to beat George up. George is no giant, but it was impossible for someone the size of Angus to cause any harm with his fist. Imagine being hit by a sixth grader at school. That was what it was like. Okay. Well, I'm just seeing what this refers to. Yes. I remember this. When the band first left Australia, we were going to base ourselves in London. We did base ourselves in London. The reason for that, for some reason, back in those days, and I'm talking 1976, during about 1976, we, all Australian bands wouldn't go to America, they'd go to England, maybe because it was the old ties to the British Commonwealth or whatever. So we went to England, based ourselves in London. We were going to be touring with a band called the Backstreet Crawler, which was fronted by a guy called Paul Kossoff. He had a band called Free, and I'm speaking for myself now, and I know the rest of the guys in the band. I know Phil was crazy about Simon Kirk, the drummer. Angus loved Paul Kossoff's playing. When a lead guitar player is playing solos, they have this thing called vibrato, which is you get the note and you bend it and you make it go crazy. Angus very readily admitted that the vibrato he uses to this day was very much influenced by Paul Kossoff. So we're very, very excited to be touring with Paul Kossoff from Free. And going back a couple of years before, when I was living in Melbourne, before I only just started playing in bands, it would have been about 15. Free, and there was a couple of other bands, Deep Purple, who were great, and another band called Manfred Mann's Earth Band came to play in Melbourne, and I saw Free live. And I got to meet the guys because my uncle was a guitar player in Manfred Mann's band, and so I got to meet the guys in Free backstage, and they were all tiny, like I still am, although I was the tallest person in AC/DC. That seems strange, but that is true. So I met the guys from 3, and they didn't really seem to be too much older than me, or that they were in this amazing band that I loved. So I thought, well, maybe I should, I want to be in a band, and these guys, because I think at that stage, Paul Kossoff was only about 19 years old when he came to it, because he started in the band very, very young, and Andy Fraser, the bass player, amazing bass player, was a little bit like younger than him. But I digress. So this takes us to the point where we're in London. Unfortunately for the music business, and particularly Paul Kossoff himself, he died on a plane coming back from New York to start this tour. So we had nothing to do in London. So we've got some gigs together. This is a passage from when we worked at a place called the Red Cow Hotel in London, in Hammersmith. It's very close to where we were living. This is what happened on the night. Gig time at the Red Cow was approaching, and the crowd, if you could call that, was very thin. There was probably 10, 15 people there. We didn't care, we were playing again. And our vibe was sky high. Angus, who could be very jumpy before a gig, was as happy as I'd ever seen him. He was vibing and smiling. When Angus smiled back in those days, it wasn't good. His teeth were no good. He was vibing and smiling out large, flashing those god-awful teeth of his. We were ready. We were in control of our emotions, and always, but there was this pent-up emotion that you could feel. If I was to point to one moment in my time with the band, we felt like brothers. This was it. We really felt like we were on the start of something, even running, playing.
77 or something in Hamburg. So, what about the rumor? Is it true, or is it just a rumor, or is it false? Let us know.
I've heard about that song. Now, in that period, we were only in Hamburg once, and that was the start of a tour we did with Richie Blackmore's Rainbow. Great guitar player, who Angus Young still loves. Richie's playing, amazing player. He's crazy, not Angus, but the other guy. Yeah, so we're only in Hamburg once, so I've heard about this song, I'm a Rebel. The story I've been told is that we recorded it in Hamburg, and Alex Young had something to do with the writing of it, correct? I never knew about anything like that or heard about it until years and years later, probably till the mid-90s. I have no knowledge of it. It's quite possible Alex has written a song called I'm a Rebel, where maybe Angus and Malcolm may have played on it at some stage later, but it certainly didn't happen in Hamburg, you know. So I think it's a rumour. Has anyone actually heard the song?
Yeah.
It actually exists, yeah?
With Bond, yes.
Is Bond singing?
Yeah.
No.
Backing vocals. Who's doing the lead vocal then? Alex.
It's very
Alex.
fun.
Yeah.
Recording, yes.
And it's definitely sounds like it. Oh, there you go. Well, I would think then, that it was recorded after I've been with the band, because I have no knowledge of it whatsoever. I know later on Angus and Malcolm used to go visit Alex in Hamburg. I'd say that's where it's happened. And Alex was working for Albert's Productions in Hamburg and London. So I think that's probably the connection. But that would have been maybe 1978, 1979. Because I know Bond did some recording also with a band called Trust in France. Yeah. Okay. But I can't tell you any more than you probably know already.
So, ganz kurz, das, was ich daraus verstanden habe, also es gibt Gerüchte, dass es einen unveröffentlichten Song geben soll. Und er sagt, ja, er hat es auch gehört, also da könnte durchaus was dran sein. Und zwar müsste das quasi etwas nach seiner Zeit gewesen sein, also 78, wo er schon weg war, oder 79 könnte es auch gewesen sein. Und zwar war das gängige Praxis, dass die Band teilweise Songideen oder Teile schon mal im Studio festgehalten hat, quasi so wie Demos, die wir dann weiter zum Proben benutzt haben. Und manche Songs sind dann weiterentwickelt worden, andere sind ja, als quasi in den Studios verblieben, aber er hat es auch gehört, kann es aber quasi nicht genau bestätigen, weil es muss quasi nach seiner Zeit sein. Und er sagt, es war wahrscheinlich zu der Zeit, wo AC/DC mit Rainbow mal getourt haben. Was für ein geiles Paket, ne? AC/DC und Rainbow. Und er sagte auch noch, dass Angus Young also ein absoluter Richie Blackmore-Fan war. Ne? Auch interessant, sowas mal hier zu hören. Thank you, Mark, for this very interesting answer.